Yes, people. Welcome back to 5 Minutes with Faz. No guest this week. I thought I'd take a couple of questions from yourselves on Twitter. People generally ask me certain things about SLS, so I thought I'll address a couple of questions. So, to be honest with you, following leaving Birmingham Elite at the time, we're going back a couple of about 3 years now. I decided I wanted to do something which gave the Sunday League as a whole a bit of exposure. Obviously, because I was already associated with the Coronation League at the time, obviously then merged into the Oldbourne and Coronation, it made sense to stick it out and obviously film the teams that I already knew in the leagues. So I started it, didn't know how it was going to be taken, to be honest with you, because being part of Birmingham Elite at the time, I didn't know whether or not people might have thought, what's Fazza doing here? Because a couple of months earlier, I'm mouthing off it to you at the sidelines, then a couple of months later, I'm here filming your game. So it took potentially a couple of games for people to realise, I get what Fazzy's trying to do. And not to sound a bit cheesy and a bit cliche, but I do it for the love of football, man. Like, I love Sunday League football. Can't play as much as I used to, so it's the closest I get to football without getting injured. I can get my videos completed in 3 days. So we're talking Sunday mornings recording, editing, graphics and audio. So there's 3 parts to it. Obviously you see me at the games, I'm recording the games, so that in itself takes a couple of hours from when I get there, doing the introduction, to when I leave, packing up the gear and everything else. Then what I have to do is then put the video into what I call a storyboard. So you guys just see half an hour of graft or 40 minutes of graft. So what I initially do is I put the first all of the clips together. I don't record the games in one long go, people. So what I do is when the ball goes out of play, the ball goes dead, I stop, start again, stop, start again. The reason for that is when it comes to sorting it out for the storyboard, it's easier for me to edit and realise what are the best clips to use and which ones are not the good ones to use. So I do that, which I call a storyboard it first. So I put all of that into order of how I want it. Second day, I put the behind the goals angles in, which is obviously you see when I put the cameras behind the goals and so forth. The third part of it is where I put the graphics and the music and the commentating together. The commentating's always done last, which it probably takes me about 2.5 hours to commentate, which I've got to blend in and around my full-time job as well. Not including time it takes to upload the videos to YouTube and so forth, and then do the covers and the adverts as well. They're just a little additional things, but in total it takes about 3 days to do a video. I'll be honest, a lot of the time I freestyle them. Straight as an arrow, as a lot of you probably love that one more than most. It don't even make sense, let's be honest, but it works, and it works. So straight as an arrow one, I don't know where that come from. Lionel's got his ruler out, I don't know where that come from. I was just commentating one day, it come out, it stuck, people repeated it, and I thought, yeah, I'm onto a winner. Now you see it, now you don't, is what it is, ain't it? Now at this point, people, what do you say? There's certain things where during commentating off, because I've been doing commentating from obviously when I first started off at Birmingham Elite. If you listen to those videos, I was rusty, and you'll probably go back and listen to where I am now. I'm comfortable and I'm confident in what I'm doing, so a lot of it just flows. So the one-liners, to be fair, they just got freestyled, and yeah, they're working. Honestly, is just the love I get from it, man. Like, not to sound cringy or too a bit emotional about it, just the love, man. I've met some proper blessed people along this journey, you know, like some good people, like some good-hearted people, like-minded people. We all put a lot of graft into Sundays, whether you're managing, coaching, you're part of the media outlets, whatever you do in regards to Sunday League football, we all do it on a voluntary basis. So I think the like-mindedness, the people I've met along the way, I've met some potentially some lifetime friends from football, especially doing SLS as well. Yeah, so for me, it's just, not to go too much into it, just the good people I've met along the way. SLS is basically myself. So people have asked who's part of SLS. SLS, in all fairness, is just Big Fazza. So I do all the recording, the editing, the producing, everything in regards to the videos starts and ends with myself. But I will say shout out to the people that help me record the halftime team talks, the ones that I've asked for favours of. Again, I can't dismiss you lot. You lot have definitely helped me along the journey as well, because without you lot willing to do it and me asking for you to do favours at half times and so forth, or even before the game to get your team talks, like, I really appreciate that. But in addition to SLS, obviously I use my lads, Dronesy, BD, Omen. They're my lads, my RMGR TV guys, where if we've got big games, we've got finals, or there's anything, anytime I need to call on them, they're there. So yeah, they're an extension of the SLS team, but ultimately SLS starts and ends with myself, Big Fazza. Nah, I don't have a favourite team. I've got some genuinely good relationships, potentially more so with other teams than others, but nah, I don't have a favourite team. It's because it's just me as a one-man band, so to speak. I haven't got the facilities, or I haven't got the extended help to do the lower leagues or get people out to do the lower leagues. I think because I naturally concentrate on the Oakbourne and Coronation Prem, rather than losing, probably losing is the wrong term, rather than people kind of losing the trajectory of what's going on in that league and me being all over the place, I try to give it a little bit of structure. It's not that I don't want to do the lower leagues, it's not that I think I'm too big to do the lower leagues or anything like that, it's just to give it a bit of structure. I do not cover children's games. The reason being is there's a lot of politics in and around children's games. Obviously, I've got an extended DBS check. My daytime job, I have to have an extended DBS check. There's no reason why I couldn't film children's games. But the issue is I've been asked a few times to film children's games. The home team who've asked me to do the game hasn't been an issue with there. But when I get there, and which I can appreciate, the opposition, they don't know who I am. They don't know me from Adam. They just see a big geezer there with a camera filming children. So yeah, I get it. They're not going to want it. They don't know where the footage is going. They don't know who I am or what I am. So I can appreciate that from a parental point of view and from a safeguarding point of view. But that's the reason why I don't really get into filming children's games. Obviously, there's some teams that I've been around for a long time. So naturally, I've built up friendships. So I know their names off the top of their head. They're just people that obviously I'm in and around on a weekly basis. But when I'm filming teams that I'm not familiar with, or it's the first time I'm filming them, it is generally a case of not being big-headed, not having an ego, and just saying, can I have a copy of your team sheet? What's your player's name? How's he pronounced? Has he got a nickname? X, Y, and Z. And ultimately, what I've always wanted to say is when I was doing SLSs, what I didn't want to do is just say number 10 passing to number 5. Like, I take Sunday League settings very serious. I think if you guys noticed that already, like I take pride in what I do, and it so by taking pride in what I do, I've always wanted to obviously make it come across as if there's a personal touch to it and a personal feel. So ultimately, me knowing people's names and people hearing their names on commentary, that also buys into the fact that I can respect what you're doing on a football pitch. So ultimately, it happens back to myself where you can appreciate what I'm doing, and I take pride in my craft. There's potentially 5 teams in that division that can win it. I think whoever's sitting from 1 to 5 at present has a chance of winning, or potentially even down to 1 to 7. The Prem is stacked full of players. Even the teams that aren't doing as well at the moment, they could go on a 6-7 game run, beat teams that are in contention at the top of the league at the moment. And again, I've already said it at the start of the season, I don't know who's going to win it this year. I'm not sitting on the fence. I ain't got splinters. I don't know. So you just like take your pick who's going to win the Prem. Now, the Championship, I believe there's potentially 3 teams up there at the moment. NSA are definitely flying the flag. Haven't lost the game yet. They've scored a bag of goals. Maypole and them not playing each other the other day. NSA obviously took the win on that. And obviously you've also got Water Rotten, who go about their business quietly and comfortably. But yeah, I think it's definitely out of one of those 3. But at present, it looks as if NSA is going to take it. Now, this is a good question, you know. Wow. There's 2 parts to it, I guess. Who would make my current Oakbourne and Coronation Prem first 11? And then who would make an all-time, for the teams obviously I've played against, managed against and filmed, an all-time Oakbourne and Coronation 11? I can't answer that now. That there's a lot of players and there's a lot of talent that I've come across. So yeah, maybe I tell you what, you can hold me to it now. The end of this season, give an all-time SLS 11, and I'll give a current SLS 11. And no doubt it'll be picked apart and people say I'm biased or whatnot, but I can only give my opinion, and my opinion is just as good as yours. So I'd like to have an additional support, an additional team where there's people filming games, editing it, those younger people learning the craft themselves of obviously videography and how they go about putting visuals together. And again, potentially, like I said, even spreading out the commentary as well. I think I'm the voice of it, but ultimately, if there's somebody who can do a job just as well as myself or better, then again, extending the love and just building the brand and hopefully being able to cover a lot more games than what I am doing at the moment. I'm very self-sufficient, and I don't give to receive. I've been like that since I was like a young boy. Like, I don't give to receive, and I don't have an expectation of anybody doing me any favors. But if I could ask for one thing, potentially, honestly, and I think it's just that if I put a video out on a Thursday or whenever I put a video out, it takes nothing to retweet or repost it. I get it sometimes when certain teams are playing, I probably get more reposts than others. But I'd like to think if I'm winning, you're winning. And if you're winning, I'm winning. Like, I think it's a joint thing, and that's how I look at things. I can't pretend SLS it's got to where it's got to now without the games, the players, the managers involved. So if I'm winning, you're winning. So if I could get everybody to repost, I've got over I think it's probably 2,000 followers now on Twitter and probably 1,000 odd on Instagram or whatever it may be. It tends to be the same people that retweet it every week, or repost it every week, whatever it may be. But if I could just ask everybody, it takes nothing to repost it, it takes nothing to retweet it, and ultimately, if I go, we go. So prem down to grassroots, like the football varies in it, but I think the one thing if I could change it, it would just be the attitude of some referees of not talking to players like they're kids and not dictating a game. I think, and I'm not knocking the referees, no way, shape or form, but there's some referees who will go with the game and flow with the game, give you a bit of banter as well. Football's an emotional sport, so just having the understanding from a ref that if a lad is getting a bit emotional or the games are getting a bit loud and leery, just manage the game a little bit better. Who's my favourite team, Trooper or Rubery? I answered this one earlier, man. I haven't got a favourite team. I've got good relationships with good people, and I'd like to think that everybody I've come across since starting my journey as SLS can say that I'm a very approachable person. I'm respectable. I'd like to think that I give everybody 100% of my time and my attention when I'm at their game. So I don't have a favourite team. Like, I don't. No, shout out to the missus, man. She's proper supportive of what I do, and because obviously I'm a busy man. I've got obviously I hold down a 9 to 5 job. Obviously I've got children. I've got other things that obviously I do outside of work as well, little bits and bobs here. So ultimately, if SLS started to affect the home life, as we all know, lads, yeah, it wouldn't be happening. But nah, the missus is blessed, man. She's bang on with stuff like that. Well, people, we've come to a closure. Hopefully, you've managed to get a bit more insight of what I do behind the scenes. You've probably got to know me a little bit more. For those that don't know me as well as they do, the next 5 minute with Fazzies, we're going to get back to normal business where we've got guests on. So hopefully over the Christmas period and definitely in the new year, we'll have some more 5 minute with Fazzies. But as I always say, I'm Big Fazza. This is Sunday League Settings. Thanks for having me. Oh,